Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Painted on a very hot, very humid summer Friday, afternoon Friday, July 13th. Yes, it's Friday the 13th, and so far I haven't managed to blow anything up. Now, that doesn't mean it will stay that way. You all have seen me drop things on the floor and have products go all over the place, so who knows how today's going to go. First of all, a huge thank you to everybody who signed up for the live notifications. You guys have been just jumping on it this week, and it's been amazing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everybody's participation. And I don't have my glasses on, so whoever said hello, happy to be here. I sort of think I can see you. Thank you, Leslie. It's so hot, I don't want my glasses on. But I really want to thank everybody who's signed up for notifications for live. If you haven't done that, feel free to go to Painted's page. You'll see posts that say, if you've missed or if you'd like to be a part of lives, please follow up here. And that's awesome. I am so happy to have you here. Hi, Kate. Hi, Shelly. Nice to see you both here. I'm looking at myself in the camera, and quite frankly, I look like a tomato because it's really warm. Follow up from last week, or I should say Monday. We did plaster text, and we were covering some stuff about plaster text and lime slag and how it dries and how it cures. And this was the board that I did that had the couple layers. It had the solid layer and the crusty layer. And if you ever wondered how humidity affects some of this stuff, I will show you. It's been really humid in my studio. I need to pull the dehumidifier in. And it cracked. There was no moisture added. The moisture in the air affected how this dries. Normally, when you add lime slag to plaster text, that doesn't happen, but it happens when it's really damp. So I thought I'd share that, so if you have that happen on a job site, you know why. Oh, thank you, Kate. I love the overs. Actually, it's my new apron. I'll share this as a resource because I'm more generously endowed than a lot of ladies. I have problems with aprons that go around my neck because then the bib goes all over the place. So I found one on Amazon that goes across my back, crisscrosses at the waist, and it doesn't shift. I love this apron. I don't know, they called it like a carpenter's apron. It was worth every penny. I paid more for it than I've ever paid for an apron in my life, like $30. And let's face it, aprons aren't that expensive, so that's a lot of money for an apron. The other question I got privately after this was, what am I putting these samples on and where do I get it? These are polystyrene boards. This side has been primed with set coat. This color specifically is gravel gray. But if you look at the back, it's white and it's slightly shiny. It's polystyrene plastic. And it's super flexible and super durable. It doesn't curl when it dries. And that's a big deal when you're doing samples. Because if you do it on poster board or wood or some of these other surfaces, they will either be really heavy, like if you're trying to do it on a piece of drywall, or poster board curls. And you don't get it to lay flat, and therefore you don't get the best effects out of it. So polystyrene is the surface I recommend the most. I get mine from Faux Marketplace, www.fauxmarketplace.com, and that is my go-to. Today's lesson, we're moving into that now. Our products, if you remember, sorry, I'm trying not to drop the bucket on my foot. Yeah, I did remember to take off the cute shoes that I had on earlier, but now I got flip-flops on in a gallon bucket. It hurts when you drop it on your foot. We are with Softex, S-O-F-T-E-X. It's a faux effects product. I know you're seeing this in reverse. Sorry, that's what happens when you put the camera on selfie mode. And then, as I always do with my plaster products, most importantly, I've got a piece of plastic down to the surface here to protect it, keep most of the air out. Press and Seal is my go-to product. Glad Press and Seal. And I can keep it in here for a year with the Press and Seal on it and not have to change the Press and Seal because I'm keeping it right on the surface and it preserves the moisture and keeps it fresher. Softex. To those who are not familiar with it, Softex was created by Faux Effects to create fabric textures. Softex is exactly what it sounds like, soft texture. It dries, it's a little spongy kind of feeling, slightly porous. Hi Diane, hi Kathleen, nice to see you here. So when it dries, it's slightly porous looking, but when you touch it, it feels fabricy, spongy. That doesn't mean if you put it on thick, you're gonna like go poinking, kinky, and it's gonna stick like, you know, a kitchen sponge. It doesn't do that, but it has a spongy, fabricy kind of texture to it. So it was designed so that you could mimic linens and other fabric textures, or get something that you wanted a soft kind of feel to it. And so today I am going to remember to put my gloves on at least once, so pray for me that I remember, because I did just get a manicure yesterday, so trying not to trash it too fast. See, gloves. I'll remember at least for the first 15 minutes, then they'll come off and I'll coat myself with something else that will be permanent. I'm going to take a little Softex in a container. I know this is going to be so exciting watching me scoop it out, but I'm going to take some from a gallon container, see if I can manage not to drop it on my toes like I did the plaster text on Monday. And it's sort of got a slight, for want of a better description, gelatiny kind of texture. If you look at it, it's kind of got a gelatiny, I'm trying to get this so you can actually see it, and I'll put the bucket down. You can see it's kind of got a gelatiny vibration. Oh, thank you for my liking my yellow nails. I just had a mood. But it's a little springy. So if you stick your finger on it, it has a little springy bounce, which, given that it's supposed to mimic fabric and has, like I said, a slightly spongy texture, that's pretty appropriate. For today, I'm going to do a simple linen weave demo. My background here is, as I said, gravel gray set coat, and I'm going to tint it with a little bit of turquoise faux cream color. I could tint this with anything. It does take tint really easily. It will dry, looking at my other sample, because when you apply it, it looks lighter, but it will dry close to the color of your tint. And it dries translucent-ish, as in not completely transparent. Hi, Lori, nice to see you. So I've put in, I don't know, maybe half a teaspoon colorant to 1.5 cups of Softex, and I'm mixing it up, and it mixes easily. This is a soft product, no grit to it, so there's no problem mixing colors into it. For those of you who don't know Kate Whitson, she's an incredibly talented decorative artist in Scotland, and she's up really late watching this. Bless her heart. Either she's had insomnia or she's just come in from having a good night out, and I hope it's the latter. Hi, Sue. Nice to see you. Hi, Kathleen. Will you be able to watch them? Again, I post every video to the page, so they're always available, and I also post them to my YouTube channel, which is under my name, Maury Curtis Dunbar. All the lives I do are all there. They're always there for full reference, and of course, you can ask me all kinds of questions. Oh, you're so sweet, Kate. I'm so glad. I'm glad you're so... Kate's missed me. It's always good to be missed. All right, so I've mixed this up pretty well, and for demo's sake, I'm not worrying if I get my colors perfectly mixed. Now, on a job or on a piece of furniture, of course you want your colors perfectly mixed, but standing here and watching me stir this is not the most exciting thing in the world. So I'm gonna grab my trowel, and I'm gonna trowel it on. Now, let's see what I can do to keep things from falling on my feet. Last time I did this, on Monday, I showed you what the product looked like on the trowel. It fell off the trowel and landed right between my feet. It was brilliant. So I'm gonna trowel this on 100% coverage. Yeah, and you can see where I didn't mix it. I got kind of white blobs in here. Oh, anybody's got a cocktail, I'm envious right now. It's still 4:30 here, and it's on a Friday, You know, I try to limit my drinking hours. I'm not on vacation anymore. And let me pull some of the chunks out because, you know, studio bucket that's been sitting around for a while. When I do stuff for clients, when I'm going in their house, of course I get fresh product, but when I'm working in my studio, I have containers around and there's always little dried bits and pieces in it. So I'm going for 100% coverage. I'm trying to get that big blob out of the middle. And you can see this stuff, I can work it really easily. Now you just watch me sort of dig at it like that, and then I can just trowel right over it and it's not a problem. For those who are not comfortable troweling, this is a great product to practice with because it's very forgiving. And it has a nice long open time to work with. And again, if I forget or I'm looking and doing something and I don't see a question asked, don't worry. I will go back to this video afterwards, answer your question, and of course, as I said, it will be posted to the page. So if you're watching or re-watching, I am more than happy to answer any questions at any time. All right, I'm not worrying about if I have a little texture showing because we're gonna do a good old-fashioned linen weave in this. Now I've traveled everything on. I got 100% coverage. I have a little thin spot here and here, and you'll see that in the as I push the texture through to create the linen. You'll see it'll be higher and lower in some spots, and that's the thickness, but that's okay. So to get a linen, first thing you want is a good old-fashioned wallpaper brush. Now, I prefer the wallpaper brushes that are like this with the wooden handles. I like this old sort of splayed out bristle. This one's 2 layers thick, and if you look close, you can see that the bristles have texture. The reason I like this is other bristles are too stiff. They set up like toothbrush bristles, so they look very straight and they don't give you a nice soft texture. This, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go down 1, and I'm giving it a good firm pressure. And you can see I have what I lovingly call slubs. Is that a Japan trowel? Yes, it is. It's a penguin trowel. I get mine from Jennifer Ferguson at Artistic Painting Studios, the pointed penguin trowel. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That's not what I wanted to do. And you look over, you can see this sort of slubby texture. Slub's a term from fabric. It is when you have some of the thing like Dupioni silk. You'll see little blobs in the weave that are woven in. That's important. That's actually intentional in the fabric, and that's part of the texture. With your linens, you see little almost pill-like looks. That's the natural fiber thickening up in certain places and thinning out in others. Then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to leave this on close-up so that you can see. Now on a job, I have a couple of these. I always do. I have towels, then I wipe off the excess because I don't want extra deposit. I probably just splattered Softex everywhere, hope not on the screen. But I've cleaned off my brush and I'm going lightly, just the weight of the brush, and I'm holding it with my fingers and pulling it across. And as you can see, my lines aren't perfect. There's unevenness, and I've got some thinner spots here. And if I didn't like that, I'd go back in, trowel over the Softex, smooth it out, and come back in and redo it because this is a fairly forgiving finish. I can come in up here and do that, and you see some irregularities that look very natural. So we love the US word. Oh, boogers. Oh, you're calling them slubs. I can't call them slubs in a class. My students are like, why do you want boogers on your finish? So I call them slubs, which is the fabric term for what those are. Now, if you don't like this kind of stuff on your finish, don't try to take it off now. So you don't have to look at my nose. Hang on a second. Okay, the camera's being a little crazy, so I'm gonna have to do this for a sec. Don't try to take off the little bits now. If you try to take them off now, you are going to smear, absolutely smear your finish. There we go, I got you out of zoom in mode because I know you really wanted to see a close up of my pores. There we go. So wait until this is dry and then go back and you can take a scraper and just, they'll all fly off because you don't want anything loose on your finish anyway. That would be a bad idea. Hi, Gina. And so I think we are complete on this step. So I've done Softex, turquoise blue, faux cream color, linen weave. Now, in itself, this is a really pretty finish. Bad glare on it from the camera, shining on everything that's wet, but it's a beautiful finish like that. However, Softex also does take colorant over it. I'm putting my glove back on. I know somebody's gonna say, where are your gloves? Because I always forget them. And of course my glove doesn't want to go back on. Move my gallon of product out of the way. And I have another board that I completed. And again, you can see I have flaws and irregularities. I like those. I absolutely think flaws are an integral I'm taping and trying to talk at the same time, and obviously I can't do that. I think flaws are an integral part of a hand-created finish, because if there's no flaws in it, it looks machine-made, and then what's the point? I think all of this should have a little bit of flaw in it. It makes it more special. It makes it more unique. And there we go. So if I don't like any of these little, for Kate's benefit, boogers, I can go on and knock them off with my hand. If they don't come off that easily, that's good. That means they're good and firm. I'm gonna take, let's see, I got a plate. I'm gonna take a little colorant. I'm gonna use a little asphaltum transoxide colorant, which is exterior rated, so you can use that inside and out. Softex, I believe, if my memory serves, Softex is only interior rated. I'll have to check my notes and I will confirm that, but my memory says Softex is interior rated only. And then I'm gonna take, in honor of Krista Vind, a little teal, because teal makes everything a little bit better. And I'm going to do a little water wash on here. I can do glazes as well, and I'll explain why I choose water washes versus glazes. All right, I have my cup of water, I have my colorants, and I'm going to water wash. Now, the reason I do water wash is pretty simple. Glaze sits on top of a surface and floats over. It doesn't penetrate the way a water wash does. If I want something to get deep into a surface, I'm going to take something that's wet and washy and scrub it in here and put more water on it so I can get it really thin and subtle, but it also blooms a little bit on the surface. So I get a really nice soft effect out of it. And I can make it thinner, I can make it heavier. Glaze, it's almost a little too controlled sometimes, and it doesn't penetrate, it floats on the surface of it. It's like putting another layer on instead of getting a layer and bit of color in. Now, like I said, it's been really humid here, so I may be re-wetting some of this a little bit, but I think I'm okay. So I'm gonna take a little teal and go in here. And I really love how this comes out. This is going to be super soft, super subtle, and I'm very pleased with what we've got going on here. And I'll probably take a little cheesecloth, soften it up. Let's see, who am I ignoring right now? I also managed to have things flip sideways. Hi, Kimberly, nice to see you. Oh, I'm sideways. Well, that's somehow I managed to do that. That wasn't intentional. Sorry, guys. We're having tech difficulties today. Let me get my glove off and see if I can make the camera flip. Let's see. It was an accident that I've turned you sideways. I can do this, which is not terribly helpful at the moment. And it's got me saying rotate my camera. Let's see. It doesn't like it when I do this. Okay, I'm gonna turn it this way for now because with the gloves and everything, the camera's fighting me, but you can see what I'm doing here. Sorry for, can you see this now? I think this, you were fine, everybody. Okay, this is good. You got me good. I'm sorry for this, you know, great. I'm such a gifted camera person. I'm a great painter, but don't ever leave me totally responsible for camera work. It's a bad thing. And of course, when you had my friend Camilla on Monday, the two of us managed to throw things everywhere. So, okay, here we go. Got it flipped. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, let me get some more color on here. I'm just messing with this right now, so I have, you know, very limited plan to what I was actually going for. And I need to get this, just get a little bit of color everywhere. All righty. Let me see if I've got any cheesecloth over here. Hang on just a second. Of course, I put it right out of my reach. Just a second, everyone. And here we go. Fortunately, everything's within reach. You guys are so funny. Kate, have a glass of wine for me, because God knows I'm going to need one pretty soon. So I can pull off a lot of color. I can leave more color on. I can do pretty much what I want. I think right now it looks a little splotchy, so I'll probably go back and put some more color on. I could spritz some water on it, but you can see that the water penetrates and creates a different look. And I really don't try to control it too much. I just try to put color where I think it would look good. And I happen to love this combination of teal, turquoise, and brown, because I think it's really a rich combination without being overpowering. So let's see, let me put a little water and see where we get, soften things up a little bit. Yeah, that's where I want it to be. That's going to be very pretty when it dries. Oh, I'm happy. And if I got like a little bit of a dark spot going, like right in there, I can make it a part of the look. So you can bring a little bit in here and just sort of weave it in with my brush. Just like I have a little bit of dark right there with the brown. And all that wet surface causes the colorant to disperse. Okay, I think I'm gonna set this aside for just a second. I got one more thing to show you with Softex, because I had something fun. And the wine will be flowing. Oh, you're so sweet. So faux color has a binder in it. Yes, faux cream colors not faux colors. Faux colors, by the way, I don't demo in these videos because you have to be a student that has been certified by a faux effects teaching studio to purchase. Silver label products like faux cream color have acrylic binders in them so that you can use them for mural painting, you can use them for edging, you can use them for detailing, and you can use them for things like water washing. And once it's dry, once it re-wet, if it re-wets, it won't wash away. The acrylic binder in there locks it in. I want to do a second whitewash on it. That would look great on it, absolutely. I can't do a whitewash on this right now because it's soaking wet and it'll never dry. My boards from Monday are still damp. I actually had to throw away the board I glazed on Monday. Hi, Cindy. Because I put my hand on the glaze today to see if it was dry. And it was so wet, this glaze had formed a skin and stuck to the palm of my hand. That does tell you the open time and work time with faux effects glazes, which is pretty impressive. It's annoying when you want something to dry. I gotta go grab my tape, which rolled away while I was doing something else. And I'm back, tape. So the other day when I was doing plaster text, you all saw me do how you wish this was available. Actually, with all the Brexit stuff, the only thing that seems to be any positive for most people there is that we can send you faux effects products over there. But you do need to contact faux effects directly. I believe Rebecca Slayton was looking at the shipping of faux effects products to the UK. The regulations have changed for that. So you may be able to get stuff like faux color sent there. Again, I'm not the international shipping expert. That's somebody else's gig. I'm just the, as my friends used to say, I'm just the monkey with the brush. So here we go. On the background here is the plaster text that I tried to show you, the 100% coverage of plaster text on Monday. But then after it dried, I thought, well, I've got this board and it's really interesting, so what am I gonna do? Oh, they haven't changed yet, thanks, Kate. So I took some of that colored plaster text from the last sample, I taped off some squares, I rolled on I troweled on plaster text into the squares, and then I used Jennifer Ferguson's textured rollers to create tiles. Now, obviously, I didn't do a really good tape-off job. These are rectangle, these are square, these aren't even full square. So I was doing this for practice to see what would happen. But I put that on there, and then what I used to get this really beautiful gold product color in the background was a product that we have called Faux Metal. Now, faux metal is a whole lesson into itself, and I'm going to probably do a live next week and explain faux metal more fully. But understand that this is a water-based metal paint. And there is real metal in here. It doesn't get top coated or anything, but again, I'll cover that next week when I do a live. And why did I use that? Well, because I didn't have any darn gold set coat. I didn't have any gold metal glow. This is what I had. That's how I do a lot of my samples. Well, I want to get this, so what have I got in my studio? So I brushed it on the background, I brushed it around the corners, I did some highlights on it because I knew this would give a nice effect. And then, back to the gloves. Let's see, those are the used gloves, those aren't going to help me. I wish you could see me throwing stuff around the studio. It's actually pretty funny. I make myself laugh, and Camilla, who's been there, knows. Do you need Lindsay to assist me with taping? Camilla's younger brother has a thing about tape and wants to tape everything, and God bless him. No, Lindsay, we're okay. I don't need some help taping today. So I'm going to take my colors again, same colors that I had out before. I had teal and I had asphaltum transoxide. And I'm going to smush them in here. And again, I'm doing wet colors. And I'm gonna do some in here too. I sort of thought this out before, so we're gonna see, you're gonna learn with me whether I screw this up or not. And then I'm gonna take a little brown. And I'm gonna put a little brown in here. So it's either gonna be great or it's gonna be awful, and at the moment I'm not sure which, but I'm hoping it's on the great side. I'm wetting my brush. And what I want to have happen is that I want the gold to stay intense here, but I want to put some more color in these tiles because quite frankly, they're a little boring. And I'm not worrying about the background because I can get it super wet and it'll rinse down, or I can leave it dark, or I can cheesecloth it. I can let it run and leave dribbles on it. It would be very cool that way. All I'm doing is right now just getting these tiles with some color on them. I can blot this back. I love how some of these tiles are coming in with the browns grabbing it, and it's looking really good. People ask me, how do I know how to do this stuff? Well, anybody who's been doing this a while, kind of knows that you're just playing. I make tons and tons of mistakes. Don't think I don't come up with some huge mistakes and boards that I go, oh my God, that's so bad. Let me just throw that away now. Don't let anybody ever see that I did that. Don't fess up to the fact that I've ever done that. That is absolutely a thing. Because for every winter board I have like 6 nightmare boards. Even though, and usually, very honestly, and see, I put one glove on. So what did I do? I'm such a genius. I'm left-handed and I'm working with my right hand so that my left hand's not in front of the camera. I'm relatively ambidextrous, but I know, a little late to the party, I'm putting the glove on. Even the ones that I think about the hardest are usually the ones that come out the worst. The ones I plot so carefully. Ooh, I really kind of like this. And I want this unevenness in the background. I want it to sort of have an ancient feel to it. And I may leave some of it heavier and more drippy. I go back. See, I love how this one dripped right here. That's really pretty. Oh, I'm really happy with that. Obviously, I didn't overthink this one, so it's working out better than I'd hoped. Now that I'm thinking about it, of course, it's a good way for me to totally bonehead it up. I'm not putting myself down. It's what happens when I overthink. It's when I make the worst mistakes because I don't let my creativity take over. I let my brain, my rational part take over. And that's not always what I want to have happen. But I'm really liking this. And I'm liking how the water is sort of seeping out of the tiles and fading in here. And I'm dropping my brushes on the floor. But I really am happy with, let me get some of those colors in there. I love the way they're fading and grabbing, and the 2 different shapes take the colors differently. Let me shift this so you can see it a little bit. And there we go. This is really pretty. Have it come down here. You can see that the different shapes and directions are taking the colors differently. Wow, I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to stop messing with it because that's my happy accident of the day. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to let that dry. And I'm not even gonna let it hang up too much longer because I don't want it to run down. Normally that's not an issue, but with the level of humidity I'm fighting today, that is a problem. And I would have all that moisture seeping down, the color would probably run down the board and leave nothing on. So if I'm on a job that's super humid like that, I have a portable dehumidifier that I bring with me, and I have fans that I bring with me. All right, the last sample we're going to work on, and then I'm going to show it to you on a piece of furniture, is Galaxy Stone. Putting my gloves back on, trying to be a good girl. And here we go. And let me find everything because, you know, I got to gather my thoughts and my products. So on the background of this sample board, you'll see it's metallic. It doesn't have to be metallic. I just happen to have a metallic taupe set coat board that I had prepped for something else. I was doing a sample for a client. So I have metallic taupe boards already prepped and stacked. And that'll work because I'm using one of the new colors of Galaxy Stone, which is gold. Believe it or not, when Galaxy Stone first came out, they came out in 4 colors. Charcoal, navy, mystery, which is purple. It truly was a mystery when I opened the can the first time. And a tint base. And then they've added gold and silver, and I think actually black. I'm trying to remember, but Softex has a couple hundred products, and quite frankly, I can't remember all of them, as hard as I try. I'm pretty good, but remembering all the colors of everything, for example, stain and seal, that's got about 20 colors. I'm lucky I can remember what I had for lunch some days. And I need something to pop open the can because I left my little key over on my desk. So let's see if I can pop it open without too much problem with a stir stick. Oh good, it's opening. Okay, so this is what Galaxy Stone looks like in the container, and I'm working so that you can see it and I don't pour it on my phone. It's metallic, it's shimmery. It also is slightly translucent, or so I shouldn't even say slightly. The darker the color, the more translucent it is. And it should not be applied without having a complementary color underneath it, because if I applied something like this over white, it's going to show starkly white underneath. It's going to have a lot of flash through. This is designed so that I can add colorants to it. I can add any kind of faux color, faux cream color to it without a problem. I can also add glitter to it to make it more glittery, shiny, sparkly. And this dries super hard. Super, super hard. So it's great for floors and countertops and everything. And it has a little texture when it dries. Now I've got my roller overloaded because I'm using it on a plate and not a regular roller pan. So you'll get to watch me smear it on before I get the roller going. And let's get some offloaded down here. There we go. Oh, this is fun. I'm watching myself make a mess. I've got too much product in my roller. I just love when I do that. Get some product off the roller. There. Always fun to do this. And again, like other metallic products, I don't roll it up and down because you'll see it all. It'll all be streaky. You'll see roller marks, which of course I'm seeing a lot of right now because I have so much product on here and then it's sliding all over the surface. All right, there we go. And this will dry back and it'll settle down a little bit, but I'm going to roll it in every direction so you can't figure out the application method. And then on these lighter colors especially, I like two coats, because while you can't really see it now up close, I can see a lot of the undercolor. The navy blue, and the mystery color, the purple, the gray, their coverage is really, really intense as long as you put it over a good base color. I usually do it over gray or black or something like that, so I get a nice rich background on it. So obviously it doesn't look like a whole lot over this, but what I'm going to show you is how it works on a dark base. So I'm going to I did a tabletop with one coat of it, and I'll show that to you, and then I'll show you what it looks like with the second coat over it. I specifically did it so that the black would show through a little bit. I actually want that. Let me just move other things out of the way so I can bring it over and not trip on everything. I'll be right back. That was me reaching over a table to get the table. I'm going to aim this down so that you can see my tabletop. See? So I painted the whole thing black, and then I rolled on a coat of Galaxy Stone, and I'm going to roll on a second coat. And if you can see, over the black, you can see this texture and stuff a lot more. So if I wanted to trowel something like some mica and glitter and stuff on in a base medium, it would grab really nicely because I have texture. And the second coat, and why does this not want to roll today? Oh, I got the roller that's fighting me. I gotta move it a little. There we go. So as I put a second coat on, you can see that it's still translucent, but it becomes more uniform. But I still have that nice dark background that makes the gold actually pop. And yeah, I know I just stuck my fingers in wet paint. At the moment, it's not an issue for me. And yes, this can be sprayed. Don't ask me what size needle for your pro level sprayers, because quite frankly, I've never sprayed this with anything other than my little cheap furniture Wagner, because I'm doing it on small things, and that thing only has one size needle. I think I got a little Softex on there the other day. So you can see that you get more coverage, but it is translucent. So your background is going to make a huge difference. If I put a navy blue background on here, this would actually reflect kind of greenish because the gold is so yellow. If I put a brown on here, get a slightly more bronzy effect from it. So obviously red, you're going to have it look more orangey. So your colored background actually does make a very big difference in what you're doing. All right, everybody, let me take a look at the questions. Let's see if I can do this today. It's Friday the 13th. And thank you, everybody. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you. The sponge roller will give me a texture with this, but if I want 100% coverage, I have to use a regular roller or a sprayer. So I have to do something that gets me full coverage. Now again, on a neutral base, I see less of the issues. On a colored base that's farther from the color I'm working with, as in darker or substantially lighter, it's going to be a big difference. You're going to see the way the light reflects through it and goes down to that base color and comes back up and changes the tone of the gold or the silver or whatever color you're working with. Again, I don't suggest using the darker colors in this on a white base. It'll be like painting red paint on a white wall with no gray primer. It just won't look all that great, and you'll be fighting your base. I think that covers pretty much. On furniture, do I need a top coat? This is tough enough to stand without a top coat for the Galaxy Stone, but I'll tell you why I suggest it, at least on a tabletop or on a drawer, because this thing has a little bit of gritty texture to it because of the mica flakes and everything that are in it. And if you don't top coat it, every little particle of dirt is going to get into that textury surface, and you're going to have to scrub hard to get it clean, and then eventually somebody's going to damage the finish. You're smarter just to put a top coat on the hard wearing surfaces. But if you're putting it on the legs or on the sides or something like that, you're fine. Like I said, I suggest it for a heavily used drawer front or on the top of a table, or quite frankly, on the seat of a chair, because, well, we've seen what butts do through old furniture, and it wears through everything. Hey, Sabrina, nice to see you. Okay, we're about at the end of the day. I appreciate everybody's patience through, once again, my gifted camera work. Great painter, just not great with, I need my camera person. And I haven't found a good camera person yet, but eventually I'll get there. But I appreciate everybody here on a Friday. What would I top coat with? Well, it depends on what I'm using, but my go-to top coat for furniture is Varnish Plus. We've done a live on Varnish Plus. It's specifically designed for furniture because it has terrific self-leveling properties, and it's alcohol resistant, which for furniture and cabinetry is very important when people use the cleaners to clear the surface. Water-based paints are suspect to being, I'm losing my words today. It is Friday the 13th, everybody. They're subject to softening with alcohol. So alcohol cleaners, when somebody wants to wipe down a tabletop or something like that, or a cabinet front because of a spill or a splash, things like 409 and Windex and all that stuff have alcohol in them. So you're softening your finish if you don't have an alcohol resistant top coat. That's why I love Varnish Plus. That's why it's my go-to. And let me see what else everybody says. What about sheen? Well, my go-to sheen for something sparkly is gloss. However, this would look reasonable under a satin too. It just, under dull, it would be sort of like, why did you bother? It'd be the dullest dull sparkle under there. I would not suggest it on. I'm not a big dull finish person to begin with. I only use things on something like dull on something that I need to not look shiny, as if I was imitating coarse wood or stone. I do not do dull finish on for much of anything. As a matter of fact, I have a bottle of it and I rarely pull it out. I'm anywhere between satin and gloss, depending on what I'm doing. Wow, it's been a great day, and I appreciate so many people being here. Next week, expect a live on Tuesday or Wednesday we'll do faux metal. I haven't decided what the other product is, but the faux metal will be fun. Since I talked to you all about it today, I figured I should make sure you really understand what faux metal is. It's one of my favorite products, and I have no idea. I'll have to come up with something. It's the weekend. Let me have a couple days to dream up some new ideas. Oh, Shelley, thank you. Again, if I missed any of your questions, I will absolutely go through this live feed and check and see what everybody said. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to post them to this thread, or post them to me personally, or post them on the business page, or post them in my furniture page, Painted Furniture, Fantastic and Fabulous. And it was a great time having you here. I appreciate everything. It's hot, it's steamy, and you all still sat with me while everything kind of clumped up. Friday the 13th, folks, I should have known better. Seriously, it was a great time. I love being with all of you. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.